So, we are going to continue on with history today. We are on page 220. So today we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to read through the information with you and stop and talk about it as we go. Okay? Are you ready? All right, here we go. Voting for slavery, right or wrong? Stephen Douglas's plan. As America moved west, they brought the problems of slavery with them. Remember, they keep pushing it off to someone else, and it's going to come and be a problem very soon. Okay? Many people wanted to build a railroad so they could move to different places faster. They wanted to connect California to the eastern states. So the eastern states are like South Carolina, North Carolina, Maine, New Hampshire, New York, those on the East Coast, which are on the Atlantic Ocean. So that's what they're talking about. Okay, so from California to the East Coast. All right, Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean. All right. Senator Stephen Douglas thought the tracks should run west from his home state of Illinois. Okay, remember the S is silent, Illinois. But he needed permission from the national government to build this railroad. He needed support from as many states as possible, including both free and slave states. Douglas needed to give the slave states something they wanted. Then they would help him get what he wanted. The Missouri Compromise did not allow slaves in some territories. Douglas's plan was to let people in all U.S. territories vote to be free or slave once they became a state. Remember we talked about that yesterday? That was on the board. Yes, part of the Compromise of 1850 that Douglas separated them all out to make it all of the bills that Henry Clay wanted to go through. Okay, so this was one of those bills. So we're not like backtracking, we're just kind of reviewing. Okay, all right. Douglas thought voting made sense. It gave people the choice of slavery. Many people in the North did not agree. Remember, they're trying to get rid of slavery, yes? They did not want more slavery. Slavery continued to divide America. All right and wrong. Abraham Lincoln, ooh, remember that name, was a politician from Illinois who ran against Douglas. He did not like people voting to have or not have slaves. He thought that owning slaves was wrong. The first Congress of America did not allow slavery in the territories. Lincoln thought the founders had made a wise choice. So back when it was just 13 states, yes, they had made a law that said any territories from now on you're not supposed to have slaves in. And they've been doing all kinds of things since then. So like Maine, right, should have been free, but Missouri should have been free too. But they didn't follow that. They kept changing the rules around. Okay, so Abraham Lincoln thought that our founding fathers had it correct. Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin and George Washington and those guys, when they said nobody else can have slaves. Slavery cannot spread through this country because it's wrong. So that is what they said, and that is what they made laws to do, but people went, nah, I don't need to listen to that. Let's change it. Okay, so that is what happened. Slave owners did not agree with Lincoln. They said that people from free states took their animals to any state, so slave owners should be able to take their slaves to any state. But Lincoln said that animals and people were different, which they are, right? People have a soul that God made us in his own image, breathed the breath of life into us. He didn't do that with the animals. He just made them. He just said, here you are, and there they were. But God breathed his own breath of life into mankind. And so people are different than animals. Way different. So slave owners, hang on, I'm trying to find where I was, sorry. People should be treated better than animals. Slave owners argued that their freedom to own slaves was being taken away. But Lincoln said doing right was more important than having the freedom to own slaves. Owning people was wrong. It was wrong to give people the choice to own people. So he's saying, yeah, no, we should not be voting on if we get to have slaves in our state or not, because people owning people is just wrong, all out, morally incorrect, and we shouldn't even give people the chance to say, what do I want to do? Okay. Kansas, 222. So this is where we're going into something called Bleeding Kansas. So what happens is that Kansas is going to become a state. So since Stephen Douglas got this passed where each territory, once they become a state, gets to decide, Kansas was the first test case, you could say, the first one to do it. So unfortunately, I don't know that it really worked the way they hoped, because what happened was a whole bunch of people who didn't even live in Kansas, they just showed up for the vote, who were against slavery, showed up into Kansas. And then a whole bunch of people who didn't live in Kansas but just showed up for the vote, they came, who were for slavery, into Kansas. So the two groups fight against each other. There's a lot of death. There's a lot, our book says there isn't, but there was. And a lot of people get hurt. They actually end up setting up two governments for Kansas, one slave government, yay, we want slaves, and one free government, yay, we don't want slaves. And they actually, Kansas is run by two governments for a little bit. So people are like hurting each other to get Kansas to go the way they want it to go, even though they don't live in Kansas. They just came from wherever. And so that's not really, I don't think, what they thought would happen, but that's what ends up happening. So let's go ahead and read about that now. People in Kansas wanted to make a choice on slavery. They thought they should vote to be a free or slave state. People who liked or hated slavery rushed to Kansas. Again, people who don't actually live there, they're just going. They wanted to pick what Kansas would be. When Kansas had an election to decide on its new leader, many people broke the law. Some people from Missouri also supported slavery. Who supported slavery, came and voted in Kansas. This was against the law. They picked leaders who wanted slavery. People against slavery held their own elections. They made their own government in Kansas. Now, the reason it's against the law is because if you don't live in that state, you're not allowed to vote in that state. So you're not allowed to vote. So I came from Maine, right? I'm not allowed to vote for me in Maine anymore because I live in Hawaii. So I can't like fly to Maine or send an absentee ballot to Maine or anything because I don't live there anymore. You can only vote in the state you live in. So these people flooding in from Missouri and wherever else they came from, they could not vote in Kansas, but they did. They broke the law. Okay, so now you have the two governments that I talked about. One, yay, slaves. One, yay, free. And they're fighting against each other. Okay, the two sides tried to harm each other. Some people who wanted slavery burned homes and businesses. No one was hurt, which isn't actually true. A lot of people were hurt. One person who wanted to get even was John Brown. Not good. He hated slavery. That is fine. Brown killed 5 people who supported slavery in Kansas. People called the area Bleeding Kansas as fighting spread. The fighting in Kansas further divided the slave state and the free states. All right, so John Brown and his boys, his sons, they were abolitionists, which is fine. And they did not want slavery, which is fine too. Remember, we've talked about this. It's fine to have your opinions and your thoughts. It's not fine when you start hurting people or destroying things, okay? So John Brown and his sons, they could have run around and said, we hate slavery. Slavery's bad. You got to get rid of it. It's terrible. You should agree with me. That's fine. But the minute he starts killing people at Landings Ferry, everything is bad. It's all done. It's not good. So John Brown and his sons actually get arrested, and John Brown is put to death for the fact that he killed other people. Okay, it's a very big deal. And then this again divides those people who are abolitionists against those people who are for slavery. The abolitionists felt that it was wrong for them to punish John Brown in that way, and the pro-slave people were upset that they didn't punish him even more. I don't know how you punish somebody more than killing them, but that's what they were upset about. All right, Dred Scott. Dred Scott. This is a decision that the Supreme Court made about this man named Dred Scott. So, Dred Scott was a slave. He was alive from 1795 to 1858. He was in Virginia. He was born into slavery. Dred Scott sued for his freedom. The Supreme Court ruled that Scott remain a slave. Eventually, Scott's owner gave him his freedom. His headstone reads, "In memory of a simple man who wanted to be free." Dred Scott's efforts show the great value of freedom. Okay, it's called the Dred Scott decision. You might be able to look it up online. I'm not sure. It's a lot of legalese, though, because there's lawyers and judges involved, so it might be hard to read. And it was a long time ago, so the English is a little bit different, too. Dred Scott's story also divided the nation. Scott was a slave who had lived with his owner in a free state. Scott and he said he should be free since he had lived in a free state. Actually, the way the story goes, he lived in a free state most of his life, is the one story that I read about. This case went to court. Several courts did not agree on a decision in Scott's case. Finally, the Supreme Court made a decision. The Supreme Court said that no black person could be a citizen of the United States. The court also said that no state or territory could make slavery illegal. The Constitution did not allow for the national government to take away people's property. Since slaves were thought of as property, slavery was legal. People who did not like slavery were angry. This Supreme Court decision further divided the people. See, it's not working very well, is it? No. Fillmore's idea of keeping it together by signing that did not work very well at all. Okay. I was going to say something about it, but now I forgot what it was. So the Supreme Court actually said he had no right to actually file the petition because he wasn't a citizen, and only citizens can file in the court. So they kind of just went, yeah, well, yeah. Okay. Hang on, I'm trying to remember if we're supposed to do another one or not. I think I'm gonna have to go check. All right, I'll be right back. All right, thank you for your patience. I wasn't sure where we were supposed to stop, so we have done everything for today. Yay! Happy Thursday! So what we're gonna do now is please do the worksheet that is listed there, or worksheets. I can't remember because, like, I did all the Google Classroom stuff on Saturday and Sunday, and then I've done all the recording stuff on Monday, so I don't remember. All right. So have a great day, and I will see you later. Bye, guys.